you see? Most of you see preparedness. You see a prudent survivor. You see someone who bought the Amazon's Choice survival kit, someone who listened to the influencers, someone who packed the essential gear. You see a $2 sheet of aluminized polyester standing between a human life and the void of winter. I don't see that. I see a corpse. I see a turkey wrapped in foil, placed in the world's largest freezer, waiting for the laws of thermodynamics to finish the job. I see a victim of the most successful marketing lie in the history of the outdoor industry. That silver shroud, that space blanket, it isn't saving them, it is accelerating their death. And if you have one of these in your bug-out bag right now, and I know you do, you are walking around with a suicide pact in your pocket. Welcome back to the real world. Class is in session. Let's talk about this piece of garbage, the emergency space blanket. It weighs 50 grams. It costs less than a cup of coffee. The packaging screams at you with bold claims. Retains 90% of body heat. NASA technology. Used by the military. It sounds perfect, doesn't it? It's the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card for the unprepared. You think that when the grid snaps and the heating dies, or when you're forced to sleep in a ditch off the highway, this magic silver sheet will defy the laws of physics and keep you toasty warm. Here is the diagnosis. You are suffering from a terminal case of marketing-induced ignorance. You are buying a tool designed for the vacuum of space and trying to use it in the mud of Earth. And physics is about to punish you for that mistake. To understand why this kills you, you have to understand what cold actually is. Cold does not exist. There is no such thing as cold. There is only heat and the absence of heat. Your body is a biological reactor. You burn calories, chemical energy, to generate thermal energy. You are a localized area of high kinetic energy, vibrating at roughly 37 degrees Celsius. The universe, and specifically the ground you are planning to sleep on, is a heat sink. It is a massive, infinite reservoir of lower energy. Thermodynamics has a law that does not care about your feelings or your gear budget. It is the second law of thermodynamics. It states that energy inevitably flows from high concentration to low concentration until thermal equilibrium is reached. Equilibrium. That sounds peaceful, doesn't it? In survival, equilibrium means you are the same temperature as the frozen mud under your spine. Equilibrium means you are dead. The space blanket is sold to you based on one specific mechanism of heat transfer: radiation. Your body emits heat as infrared radiation. In the vacuum of space, where there is no air and no ground, radiation is the primary way heat is lost. Satellites use Mylar to reflect that radiation. It works beautifully in orbit. But you are not a satellite. You are a biological organism subject to gravity. You are not floating in a vacuum. You are lying on the ground. And the moment you lie down on that thin silver sheet, the mechanism of heat transfer changes instantly. You stop losing heat primarily through radiation, and you start losing it through conduction. Conduction is the transfer of kinetic energy through direct physical contact. It is a thief, it is violent, and it is fast.
When you lie on the ground, the Earth acts like a giant sponge for your energy. Now look at your space blanket. It is a few micrometers thick. In the language of engineering, we measure insulation by its R value, its resistance to conductive heat flow. Air has an R value. Wool has an R value. Foam has an R value. A Mylar blanket, its R value is effectively 0. When you wrap yourself in it and lie down, your body weight compresses that foil against the cold earth. You have eliminated the air gap. You have created a direct thermal bridge between your blood and the frost. The aluminum in that blanket, it's metal. Metal is a conductor, not an insulator. By lying on it without a buffer, you are essentially grilling yourself on a block of ice. You are facilitating the transfer of your own life force into the dirt. But wait, it gets worse. The conduction trap has a second stage. You wrap yourself tight because you're cold. You tuck in the edges. You create a seal. The packaging said it's windproof and waterproof. That's true. It keeps water out, but it also keeps water in. Your body is constantly emitting moisture, insensible perspiration. Even when you are freezing, you are venting water vapor. Mylar is a non-breathable barrier. Within 15 minutes, that vapor hits the cold silver surface and condenses. It turns back into liquid water. Now your clothes are damp. You are lying in a microscopic puddle of your own sweat. Here is the math of your demise. Water conducts heat 24 times faster than air. Let me repeat that. 24 times. By wrapping yourself in this non-breathable bag, you have saturated your clothing, destroyed whatever insulation value your clothes had, and coated yourself in a conductive fluid. You haven't built a shelter, you've built a sous vide machine. You are marinating in your own hypothermia. So here is the timeline of the space blanket user. Minute 0, you wrap up. You feel a sudden reflection of heat. You think it works. Minute 20, the conduction begins. The ground starts sucking heat from your core. You feel a chill along your spine, but your front feels warm from the reflection. You're confused. Minute 60, condensation has soaked your base layers. You are now wet and conductive. Hour 3, your core temperature drops below 35 degrees Celsius. Shivering stops. You enter the apathy phase. You feel tired. You just want to sleep. Hour 6, thermal equilibrium. The industry sold you a coffin. They sold you the idea that a piece of plastic could cheat physics. But physics doesn't take bribes. Physics demands payment in calories, and if you can't pay, it takes your life. Does this mean the Mylar blanket is useless? No. It means you are useless because you don't know how to use it. It is a component, not a solution. It is a reflector, not an insulator. To survive the night, you have to stop trying to be a burrito and start thinking like an architect. You need to build a system that defeats conduction first and manages radiation second. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you the debris mattress configuration. We are going to take this piece of trash and turn it into a thermal engine that actually works. But first, you have to admit that everything you thought you knew about staying warm was a lie. To survive the night, you have to stop thinking like a consumer buying a product and start thinking like a thermal engineer managing a system.
Let's strip away the marketing fluff and look at the raw engine under the hood. Your body is a biological reactor. It burns glucose to produce heat. You are constantly fighting a war against entropy, the universe's tendency to cool everything down to absolute zero.
The ground you are standing on, that is an infinite heat sink. It is a massive, infinite reservoir of lower energy, and it wants to charge itself with your heat. There are rules to this war. We call them the laws of thermodynamics, and right now, you are breaking them. The first concept you need to burn into your brain is R value. In engineering, R value measures thermal resistance. It calculates how hard it is for heat to travel through a material. Higher R value means the heat stays with you. Lower R value means the heat leaves. Dry air has an R value of roughly 1.0 per inch. Closed cell foam has an R value of roughly 5.0 per inch. Your Mylar blanket, it has an R value of 0.01. Why? Because insulation works by trapping dead air space. Heat struggles to move through still air. A down jacket keeps you warm not because of the feathers, but because the feathers trap millions of tiny pockets of air that cannot move. Mylar has no thickness. It has no depth. It traps nothing. When you lie on it, gravity compresses it against the cold earth. You have removed the air. You have removed the resistance. You have created a thermal bridge. This is conduction. Metal is a conductor. Aluminum, the stuff coating your blanket, is a fantastic conductor. By wrapping yourself in foil and lying on the ground, you are essentially soldering yourself to the frost. The blanket isn't stopping the cold. It is facilitating the handshake between your spine and the frozen mud. But here is the variable that kills you fastest, the one the survival manuals gloss over. Moisture. Your body sweats, even at rest, even when freezing. It's called insensible perspiration. Normally, this vapor escapes through your clothes, but Mylar is a vapor barrier. It traps that moisture against your skin. Your clothes get damp. Here's the physics. Water conducts heat 24 times more efficiently than air. 24 times. Think about that multiplier. If you are dry, you might survive 6 hours at 0 degrees. If you are wet, you have less than an hour before hypothermia degrades your cognitive function. By using the space blanket as a cocoon, you are creating a high humidity environment that turns your insulation into a conductor. You are building a machine designed to extract heat from your core. So, the theory is simple. Conduction steals heat faster than radiation. Compression destroys insulation. Moisture acts as a turbocharger for heat loss. If your survival plan ignores these 3 facts, your survival plan is a suicide note. Now, let's fix it. Let's build something that actually respects the laws of physics.
Forget the camping store. Forget Amazon. If the grid goes down, your insulation isn't coming from a factory. It's coming from the garbage. We are going to execute the debris mattress protocol. We aren't looking for comfort. We are looking for dead air. We are looking for loft. We are looking to create a 6-inch barrier between you and the heat sink of the earth. You need volume. You need structure. Look for PET plastic bottles, empty water bottles, soda bottles. Cap them. What do you have? You have a sealed cylinder of dry air. It is waterproof. It is crush resistant. It is the perfect insulation brick.
Look for cardboard. Corrugated cardboard is literally designed with air channels. It's engineering disguised as packaging. Look for organic debris, dry leaves, pine needles, dried grass. Do not just grab a handful. You need a mountain. Why? Because of compression. When you lie on leaves, they crush. A 10-inch pile becomes a 1-inch mat, and 1 inch is not enough to stop the conduction beast. You need to pile it high, thigh high. Here is the build. Layer 1, the vapor break. Put something waterproof on the mud, a trash bag, a tarp, even slabs of bark. Stop the ground moisture from rising. Layer 2, the structural core. If you have bottles, lay them flat, side by side. This is your mattress, air that cannot be crushed. If you don't have bottles, use the contractor bag method. Stuff a heavy-duty trash bag with leaves, crumpled paper, styrofoam packing peanuts, anything that has volume. Do not pack it tight. Loose is better. Remember, air is the insulator. The material is just the matrix to hold the air in place. Tie the bag shut. Now you have an air mattress made of trash. Layer 3, the reflector. This is where you use the Mylar. You do not wear it, you lay on it. Place the silver blanket on top of your debris pile, silver side up. Now lie down. Here is what happens. The debris pile beneath you provides the R value. It stops conduction. It creates that 6-inch gap from the heat sink. The Mylar beneath your body reflects your radiant heat back into your torso, preventing it from being absorbed by the mattress. And because you aren't wrapped in it, your sweat can evaporate. No vapor trap, no wet clothes. You have just built a thermal capacitor. You have separated yourself from the earth. You have managed your moisture, and you have weaponized the Mylar to do the only thing it is good at, reflection. This isn't comfortable. It crunches when you move. It smells like garbage. But at 3 a.m., when the temperature drops to -10, the guy wrapped in the silver burrito is freezing to death in his own sweat. You are warm. You are dry. You are alive.
You built the system. You scavenged the bottles. You piled the leaves. You laid the Mylar correctly, silver side up, floating on top of the air gap. Now comes the terrifying part. You have to trust it. In engineering, we don't guess, we verify. When you build a bridge, you drive heavy trucks over it before you let the public cross. When you build a survival shelter, you test it before you fall asleep. Because if you fail the test while you are unconscious, you don't wake up. We call this the thermal audit. Lie down. Wait 15 minutes. This is the time it takes for your body weight to fully compress the debris. Now close your eyes. Focus on your contact points. Shoulders, hips, heels. These are your heavy points. These are the points where gravity is fighting your engineering. Do you feel the ghost cold? It starts as a dull ache, a specific kind of numbness that feels like it's coming from inside the bone. If you feel that, fail. It means you bottomed out. Your 6-inch pile compressed to 1 inch.
The conduction bridge is open. The fix: do not tough it out. Get up. Add more debris. Fluff the pile. If you're using bottles, check if they shifted. You need loft. Loft is life. Hour 1. The conduction trap usually kills by moisture. Check your base layers. Are they damp? If you're sweating, you are overheating. In survival, sweating is dying. If your clothes are wet, it means your Mylar isn't venting. You wrapped it too tight. You created a vapor barrier trap. The fix: vent the sides. You want the Mylar to reflect heat, but let moisture escape around the edges. It's a chimney, not a body bag. Adjust the airflow. This is the only test that matters. If you survive the night, wake up and move your bed. Look at the ground where you slept. Is the snow melted? Is the mud warm? If the answer is yes, you failed. Melted snow means your heat escaped. It traveled through your clothes, through the Mylar, through the debris, and heated the planet. You wasted 500 calories warming up dirt. You are running a thermal deficit. But if the snow is frozen, if the ground is hard, victory. It means your heat stayed where it belongs, inside the system. It means that for 8 hours you defied the second law of thermodynamics. You existed in a bubble of thermal isolation. The physics doesn't lie. The snow tells the truth. Most of you will skip this. You'll buy the gear, put it in your bag, and think you're ready. You aren't ready until you've slept on a pile of trash in your backyard and woken up dry. Theory is nice. Data is better. Why do I hate this blanket? I don't. It's a sheet of plastic. It has no moral alignment. I hate what it represents. It represents the consumer delusion, the idea that you can swipe a credit card and solve a biological crisis. The industry wants you to believe that survival is a product, that if you just buy the right space blanket, the right life straw, the right tactical knife, you will be safe. That is a lie designed to make you weak. A space blanket is fragile. It tears. It flies away in the wind. It has zero structural integrity. If your survival depends on a $2 piece of foil remaining intact, you are already dead. But the debris mattress, the scavenger protocol, that represents resilience. It represents the ability to look at a pile of garbage, bottles, cardboard, leaves, and see infrastructure. To look at a dead city and see resources. That is the mindset of a fabricator. We don't buy solutions, we build them. We don't hope for rescue, we engineer our own safety. When the herd is freezing to death, wrapped in their Amazon Prime purchases, you will be warm because you understood the physics of conduction. You will be alive because you weren't afraid to get your hands dirty, building a nest out of trash. So here is your homework. Don't just like this video. I don't care about your likes. Go outside, find enough debris to make a 6-inch pile, lay on it, feel the conduction. Learn the difference between marketing and thermodynamics. And for the love of physics, take that space blanket out of its package. Practice with it. Destroy it if you have to.
Because a tool you have never used is not a tool. It's a souvenir. Survival is rebellion. Don't be a victim. Become a fabricator. Class dismissed.